You are listening to Indie Radio, where we do content the indie way.
Hello, welcome to an all new episode of Men and Women Talk from our Venus show. I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. I am joined by my friend, stinking new, co the one and only Mosaic Star. How you doing?
Everybody.
All right, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Mosaic Star. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I've been married for 3 years, and I'm a business owner of Missouri Watu Beauty and Wellness.
All right, all right, all right. And as a recurring theme on this show, a lot of us met on the platform Blab, and that's where me and you
I
met.
know. I miss Blab.
Yes, and I've I've known you for quite a while now. You're one of those people that the minute I met you, I felt a kinship, and so I think we've always been really cool with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to have you a part of this journey.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, so I am, like I said, I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to this show tonight. We have a great topic, so we'll get a little bit more into you and some of the things that we have planned for the show coming up. But before we do that, let's introduce our panel, and we have a great and illustrious panel tonight, and we're gonna start off, ladies first. Coming back to the program, we have Kedra. How you doing, Kedra?
I'm doing fine. Hi.
Hey, 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 hey. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Kedra.
A little about me. I am a thespian. I act, I write, I produce. Right now, in pre-production, getting a short film together, and I'm gonna finance it myself. So, of course, with some friends too. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Amazing.
All
Thank
right, all
you.
right. So thank you for joining us today. Also joining us, another returning champ is the one and only Stephanie. How you doing, Steph?
Hey, Kente. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. You are our tech lady,
Oh,
and our fashion and health and wellness lady as well.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So I'm so glad that you were here too, and looking forward to getting your thoughts on this topic.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's introduce the fellas. We'll start off with this guy. He's a podcaster. I've known him for quite a long time. Actually, I met him along with Kedra in the old Raya Radio days. It's the one and only Josh. How you doing, Joshua?
I'm doing fantastic. As always, Kente, what is up?
Hey, I'm glad that you're here, and me and you've done many podcasts together and continue to. So,
Hmm.
all right. And it was funny. We just lost our. He's having some technical difficulties, Sean. So we'll wait. Let's see if he's coming back. All right. So just as a programming note, we've always been on Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. Now we are officially on Wednesdays. Uh-oh.
My
Uh-oh.
phone
Oh,
is
okay.
working.
So this is our new night. All right. Uh-oh, you got a lot of background noise, brother. Uh, so welcome to the show, Sean. How you doing, Sean? Uh-oh, Sean. You there? Can you hear us? All right. So Sean is having some technical difficulties. Let us know when you are back, Sean. Okay. So the topic for tonight is single for too long. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because, I think maybe all of us have, felt this way at some point when, you start off, you were in a relationship, the relationship ended, and then next thing you know, a year goes by, maybe a couple of years go by, and you ain't with somebody, and then next thing you know, you're like, man, I've been single for a minute now here, and being single for quite a long time can affect you in many different ways. And I really wanted to talk about that on tonight's show. So, the first thing I want to start off with, and we'll start off with you, Kedra, is what's the longest stretch you've been single?
The longest stretch I've been single, let's see. I'd say maybe about 4 years.
4 years. Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the way, I'm gonna ask this question to everybody. The first years of your life does not count. So don't say I was like single for like 15 years. The first 15 years. So, okay. So 4 years. Okay. Let's check with Sean real quick. Sean, are you there? You're on mute.
Is he in the rain or something?
Yeah, looks like he's outside.
Yeah, I think so too. It looks like he's about to rob somebody.
I know, like he looking.
Yeah, Sean. Ninja.
Hey guys, can you hear me? If
there
you
we
can.
Yeah, I hear you
Yeah.
just fine.
So here's the thing. I'm sorry, Kente. What was the question?
No, we were just saying hi to you, and just introducing you to the audience.
Oh, okay. So quickly, yeah. I'm Sean or G, and right now I'm like outside, soaked, heading into the train station because I'm a fucking idiot. Excuse my language. But hey guys.
All right.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
All right, Sean. When you get to somewhere quiet, just come right back.
Yeah. I got you.
All right, man. Okay, so let's go back to you, Kedra. So 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was these 4 years?
It was, matter of fact, let's see, 2016, because that's when I found out that my significant other, and I found out on Facebook, that he was in South Africa with somebody, and it wasn't me. So that kind of ended it. Yeah. I mean, it's like I found out by accident. I wasn't looking for it, but it came to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you found out that your significant other was stepping out on you. He was international cheating.
Yeah.
Just as a side note, if you cheat internationally, it don't count, right?
That counts.
Oh, it counts.
But because she was from here, they left. They both took the flight from Miami to South Africa together.
Oh wow!
Wow!
And I just figured, like, whoa, she's in South Africa, because he introduced me to her. Oh, this is my friend. She's like a big sis to me, and blah 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 blah. Well, y'all both in South Africa. And then I found, y'all together in South Africa. Okay.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Oh wow! Well,
that's unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate. So after that, did you purposely take a break, or did you or did it just happen?
I purposely took a break because he hit me with some polygamy stuff and all this other stuff. He was into sister wives, but the whole 2 years we were together, none of that came up. All of a sudden, I want to be in polygamy is good, and I just want you to be a sister wife. Nah, you need to find somebody else for that. I'm not with it. I mean, that might be for some people, but it just ain't for me.
Not for you, and that's we're gonna have to do a show on that one too. But okay, so you did a self-impose, just making yourself single. Was it that you had a lack of trust?
A lack of trust, because I really felt hard for him. I mean, like, I felt like a piece of me. When we broke up, I was actually really heartbroken. I was really heartbroken. He broke my heart.
Okay.
Did you feel like you needed some time to get yourself back together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to circle back into that because I want to make a point. But okay, so I just want to get on record everybody's their time being single. What about you, Sean? What's the longest you've been single?
Shoot, let me see.
First, you can't count the first years.
Like 6 years. 6. Yeah, 6. I think that's about like after high school. Oh no, it was longer than that. It's like 8 years.
8
Yeah,
years. Wow, that's a good
yeah.
long time.
Because I was single in high school. I was single in college. Shit. Yeah, yeah. 8 years.
Okay, 8 years. What about you, Josh? What was the longest stretch you had?
I actually had to do a little bit of research, so 6.5 years.
6.5 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what about you, Steph?
I had to really rack my brain. um, I want to say something like 6 years, somewhere in there.
6
Yeah.
years. Okay. All right. That's a good long time. Yeah, six is winning out here tonight. What about you, Mo?
The longest I've been single probably was a good 2, almost 3 years.
Okay, 2, 3 years.
Hmm.
Me, it's been about a year and a half. So, I guess I'm a serial dater. I guess if that's what they call it. So,
I'm dying
so
over here.
He
They
said
call
for
them
the
serial monogamous.
right. There you go. Serial monogamous. Okay, so all right. Now I'm gonna tell you some of the things that I find when I've dated people who come off. I mean, quite a bit of long stretches, right? I've dated women who were 8 years, not only 8 years dateless, right, or relationshipless, I should say, relationshipless. I've dated women who have long stretches of celibacy as well, which is a whole other animal.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off of a long celibacy streak as well. Um, One thing that I find is in these situations is that they have a hard time being in a relationship, like adapting to it. Like, for example, when you're single for so long, you are so used to only accounting for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, as my father my father used to say, when let's mute. My father used to say, when you eat, your whole family eat, right? So, so they have a hard time dealing with being in a relationship because they're so used to being single for so long, accounting for someone else's feelings, accounting for, you know, just the fact that you're in a relationship. So, one thing I find hard is communication. Now, I don't know if you guys have dated people who've went long stretches, like you were the next person. So I think that's probably a good place to go into. Then we'll talk about our own personal things. But Mosaic, have you ever dated someone who had been single for like a good long time, and then you were like maybe next?
I don't. I guess I could say like I dated people that they weren't committed to anybody, so they just like kind of just dated people, whatnot. For myself, going that long, like you said, considering other people's feelings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That when I got married, that's when that kind of popped up for me. So it'd be like I'll go do something, and my husband's like, "Well, you didn't." Asked me if I wanted to do it or if that was I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about you. So now I'm always asking him like, what do you want to eat? What do you want to do? Is this what you want? Anything like that? Because it's important to include him in everything I do. So like sometimes I'll just get up and I'll just go to my dad's house or my mom's or stuff like that, and I'll be like, man, I gotta tell him where I'm going. So it took me like a little bit to get used to that. Now it's like secondary. Like, hey, even if he's going somewhere, I'll call him, say, hey, I'm about to go to Papa's house, or I'm going to the store. I'm going here, just so we keep that line of communication open and honest.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I want to ask this panel too about the communication aspects of it. Um, like, and we'll go to Stephanie. Are you someone just in general communicates well when you're in relationships?
I think I think I do okay once I'm in it because by that time I'm really comfortable with the person. I think for me the struggle is getting there. So communication wise, you know, I'm very guarded. I'm an open book, but I'm not. So but I actually thought about this the other night, and I've been single for a while now, and plus I'm getting much older, and you know, sometimes I'm just not in the mood to consider other people's feelings or opinions. I'm just not.
Mm. Yeah, I've actually been in situations with people where I had got that same vibe, where they've been so used to not having to give a shit about what someone else feels, so then they, you know, and it causes for conflict because I think come the backbone of a good relationship is communicating with each other, and then unfortunately having to hear other people's opinions, thoughts, and and be considerate of that. Um, Sorry about that. Somebody trying to call me.
I think
Uh, Go
also
ahead.
when people like you get to the point where you're like you don't even feel like you want to consider somebody else's feelings, like you become comfortable in the place where you are right now, and it's gonna take like a special person to like kind of change that about you. Because I mean, I kind of went through that. I'm like, you know what, I'm not even interested in this. But I can understand how you can get to that point where you're just like, look, I don't even feel like dealing with nobody else. Like, it's just the whole hassle of having to deal with somebody else's feelings and they BS. You don't want to do that.
Hmm. Um, so let me ask Josh. Are you there, Josh?
Of course.
Let's talk about the communication aspects of relationships for you. Are you a good communicator?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Are you a good communicator generally in relationships?
I wasn't listening. Say again.
You're hilarious.
Am I a good communicator? Well, I've never been on the receiving end of my communication, so I can't attest to that. I'd like to think that I'm able to convey my thoughts and feelings uh, pretty clearly without driving anybody insane. But you never know. Everybody has a different level of something or other that one man's bluntness is another man's beating around the bush. Can't buy a clue, that kind of thing. So I try to be direct. I try to make it very clear, um, the thoughts that I'm trying to express, and that's all I can really do, I think. So, am I a good communicator? I don't know, Kente. You tell me.
Well, first of all, I've never dated you, so I can only go by
I'm
yeah,
dying.
yeah, I could only go by our very very platonic male friendship.
And
So,
professional.
right,
Professional
and
friendship as
professional as
well.
well. So you seem to be a decent communicator on that end. But you know what's interesting? I find is some of the best like friends, like your homie, right? Could be a great homeboy, right?
Hmm.
And got your back in a fist fight, can do all kind of, you could really stand by this person, but they make terrible sometimes boyfriends for like a girl, that you may know or something like that because, they don't those things don't always translate,
Right.
so the great homie doesn't always make a great husband or boyfriend for their mate or something like that. So, and a lot of times when we are close to somebody, we feel like, oh, they're great. What are you talking about? They're wonderful, but you're not dating them. You're not screwing them. So,
Hmm.
you know, um, now one aspect too about the whole single too long is sexually, and I think it manifests in a lot of different ways. And I'll start with the male perspective. There are guys who are single for a while and they're used to getting gratification uh mainly from their girlfriend Pamela, if you know what I mean. And so what happens is this is like a real phenomena, right? I read up on this where guys, they ain't getting none out really outside of a relationship, so they're watching porn and taking care of themselves in that way. Then they get in a relationship, right, where there's sex. They're so used to pleasuring themselves, they don't even really know how to be sexual anymore with an actual woman. So what happens is their woman will come home or catch them, getting down to a porno, and they're like, wait a minute, you got a whole woman here, who's willing to provide, sexual gratification. And I remember I had to give counsel to a friend of mine who she couldn't understand. Like she was in a similar situation. Yeah. And I said, well, I'm assuming, dude, that's how he probably, he can't turn the faucet off, right? Because he's used to doing that. And then on the flip side, you got these women who have a battery operated boyfriend, and they get used to pleasuring themselves that way too, to the point where it may affect them sexually as well. So that's one of those things that you got to watch out for when dealing with someone who is been single for a long time, is actually not just sexually but having intimacy issues because they've been so out of practice, because they haven't really been in relations with an actual person. So I want to talk to this panel. We'll start off with you, Kedra, about, dealing with men possibly, or even dealing within yourself internally. Have you ever noticed a guy who may have intimacy issues because of maybe lack of practice, or, or just not being used to being in a real committed relationship, and where the intimacy is different than maybe just a casual hookup or your girlfriend Pamela? So have you ever dealt with men with intimacy issues?
Luckily I haven't. I wouldn't say intimacy issues. I would say whore issues. But that's the funny part. That, like, my ex, he didn't have the whole intimacy problem, and now it seems like that I'm in this new relationship, I'm the person that has the intimacy problem, because I'm just so used to turning off and turning on, like, my boyfriend will be like, oh, you always turn your back to me, you do this, you do that. And I don't realize I do these things, but I do them because I've been doing them for the last 4 years. I'm not used to taking nobody else's feelings into consideration but my own. But now I have to grow. I have to learn to be intimate again, because once I cut that switch off, it's sometimes hard to turn it back on.
Mm-hmm. And if you're used to slaying too, like, because this another thing is, if you're used to hitting and quitting, but then you meet Mosaic. And then you don't want to be a player no more. You meet Kedra, you meet Stephanie, and you're like, I want to get rid of my whole ways, right? So Stephanie, the guy comes to you, right? And he goes, I used to be a hoe just yesterday. But now I don't want to be a hoe no more. I just want to be yo ho. So Stephanie, can you be with a reformed whore? A guy who, he meets you and he says he's giving up his whole ways. I mean,
I've had men come to me and say, ooh, I was something else back in the day, or, I've calmed down. I think that's kind of typical shit you hear from men. But I did just reflect on an experience I had with an ex, and yeah, he had a whole lot going on, and ain't enough time in this podcast to talk about it. But when we did try to rekindle something, and he's one of the few men that ever has told me directly that he recognized that his desire to sleep with so many women was due to low self-esteem and the need for validation. And, I think that's something that men just they don't want to delve into it because they're praised I mean, why would you try to correct something that you're praised for? Bagging a lot of women, right? But those types of things can also have disastrous consequences, whether it's creating children out of wedlock, catching diseases, where in his case he ended up catching herpes because of his behavior. It just I think that men just don't take sex seriously sometimes, and it is a very serious thing. While it's fun and we like to do it, it's just like you got to put some self-preservation in there as well. You got to put a little bit of that in there.
Your body, not to sound corny, but your body is definitely a temple.
Yeah,
definitely.
And you got to respect yourself like that.
Yeah,
it's so funny because a lot of guys, they'll say, well, the coochie has no face, or that's like the different ways to justify their hoish behavior. So I don't know. You have to be much more, in my mind, you have to be much more choosy about who you mess around with and whatnot.
Yeah, all this stuff out here.
Yeah. So what about you, Mosaic? Have you ever dated a guy who was a reformed whore, and now he met you and he want to get rid of his hoish ways?
Ooh, good thing he ain't on my Facebook. No, so yeah, I mean, yeah, my on and off love of 20 years. I guess we could call him a reform whore. That might be up to interpretation on the right day. But yeah, I mean, even with him, like there was some times that I'd be like, dude, you doing too much. Like he got pros in every area code. So, and I'll, be careful with him. And like, even though we, been on and off for the last 20 something years, it was still like, look here, dude, nah, you doing too much. I can't, because I value myself first, and I don't want you bringing nothing to me or anything like that, whether it's HIV, KIDs. I don't want none of that.
I like that one. That's a good one.
I'm like, it's just more headache than we would have to deal with. Now, if we were married or something like that, if he was willing to be committed at the times that we were dating, then that would be a different story. But during his whole phase, he was out doing bald headed hoe shit. I can't. No.
Bald headed hoe shit. I love it. Because that's something to like. It's almost like the guy who, like, I don't know if you remember the movie Goodfellas, where at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he goes into witness protection. And then so now he's no longer living the mafia lifestyle. He has to live like a regular person, going to grocery stores and PTA meetings and stuff. And he's going crazy. So it's like the guy or the girl who's used to living it up, just sleeping with whoever. And then now you're in a committed relationship. Now you have to adjust to that, and it's hard for a lot of people, You're used to going on whole trips, and now
it makes you face yourself though, and
right.
that'll make you face whatever issues you got going on with yourself. Because like if you feel like you got to have all the women's, then there's something inside of you that's missing. It's not the other. None of the women are going to be able to fulfill the thing that you necessarily need.
They ain't Pokemon. Women is not Pokemon. You can't catch them all. The only thing that you can catch is some STDs. So put that out there.
Women are not Pokemon. That's a good one. One thing too I've come across is I'm an old fashioned guy. You'll find this if y'all don't know from watching the show. You'll find this going forward. I'm an old fashioned guy. I do believe in gender roles, and such. And one thing that I've noticed about women who've been single for a long time, they're used to having to do everything themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm the kind of guy that, I won't let, my woman do certain things, if possible. So like I give a great example of this is I have the one thing I don't like is, and I see this from guys doing this, is when at night you guys are hungry, right? So some guys will let their women go out and go to KFC or wherever in the middle of the night to bring back food, and I'm like, why don't you do it, or at least go with her or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't like sending my woman out in the middle of the night, And I remember there was this one woman that oh, Nikki, what's up? There was this one woman I dated, and I remember I was just like, hey, I'm not gonna it's the it's at night. She was gonna say, oh, I'm gonna go and get the food or whatever, and I'm like, no, I'll go do it. And she was like, and then her attitude was about it was like she thought that was controlling.
Oh no.
And I'm like,
Oh.
no, I'm like I'm worried about your safety,
Mm-hmm.
So some women who are so used to, being that strong, independent woman, they don't know how to allow a guy to, you know, to come in and take that lead. Now I want to ask you, Mosaic, you're married now.
Mhm.
Um, I take it that you have no problem allowing your man to, do his man stuff and all of that kind of stuff.
I have my struggles sometimes.
All right, talk
I
about
have
it.
my struggles sometimes. There's some things that that I'm just like I know it's going to work certain kind of way, and I'll be like, no, no, no. He's like, let me. But I've learned to allow him to do things on his own, and sometimes even if it's for him to bump his head. So,
Mm,
but I've learned to kind of just like trying to stay back. I'll be like, okay, I'm trying.
hmm
It could be hard, but in the long run, I do allow him to do what his manly stuff. So like my husband is unlike a lot of traditional African men. So most people are like, "Oh, you married an African man? Is he controlling?" And I'm like, "Well, all men are controlling to a certain degree." My husband has his things that he likes, but he's really kind of non-traditional. It's like a mix of traditional and non-traditional. So one of the things that for him is that I'm like, I'm not taking the trash out. I'm just not doing it. And so
hmm
he was like, why can't you take the trash out? You've been here all day. And I'm like, but why can't you take it out? So that's our little contention. But everything else, my husband he stays. Hi Eric. Um, some of my people from Clubhouse. He
All right.
stays like within he believes in gender roles. Like I'm cook, I clean. I do all that. But then with me working a third shift job, and he works first shift, I had to ask him like, can you please like help? And he's like, it's your house, Jada. You got it. I was like, what if it's my house? Get out so I can keep it clean.
hmm
He was like, you gonna put your husband out? I'm like, look, this is also your house. I can't do everything myself. Because I get off at 8:30 in the morning. I get home, I go to sleep. Getting up at 4:30. Then I got to figure out what I'm gonna cook, and it's just not enough time in the day before I have to get back to work at 12 o'clock in the morning. So he finally caught the vision, and he helps. Like those things. We're actually talking about that on Clubhouse today, compromising and how compromise is not a bad thing, but it's give and take in a relationship, and you have to be able to work with each other to make things work.
Right. And I want the people in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen, can do this too. If you're in a relationship, talk about some things that you were looking forward to having the opposite sex, um, help out with, that, when you're single, like, because I know some women that, the whole thing about taking out the trash, and some of the things around the house and that kind of stuff. So put in the chat room some things you're looking forward to. Um, Let me ask you, Stephanie. You're a very strong, independent woman. I can imagine at times there's certain things that you like to have a man for. I mean, other than uh, nighttime, stuff.
I'm to do her.
like there's some things that it'd be kind of cool to have a dude around to, that I don't have to do this shit no more.
Right. Yeah, I mean things like taking out the trash, making sure the oil gets changed in the cars, shit like that. But so this is my thing though. So, I'm, a single mother. You know, my son's father is deceased, so he doesn't go to somebody's house every other weekend. Um, and I think for me, it's the decision making, having to make and think through all the decisions. Um, is really, really tough. I think as women, we do so much to protect men's egos, and quite frankly, it's draining. It's really tiring. You got to let him be the man. You got to, encourage him even though he's fucking up. And I'm just like, I don't want somebody fucking up to my detriment. Like, I have worked too hard. I've been through a lot. I have been through a whole lot, especially with my son's father, where I had to, at one point in my life, I lost everything I owned. So, I don't need somebody that's gonna come in and fuck shit up for me. I need somebody that's gonna add to. Now, on top of all that, specifically, I take issue with men who expect me to work, cook, clean, and do all the child rearing and take care of all the appointments, remind you to take your blood pressure medicine, call your mama, I cannot do all of that. So if you want me to do all of that, then you have to pay all the bills, because I'm not going to work and pay 50% of the bills and do all the cooking and the cleaning. Or we're going to have a non-traditional relationship. You're going to have to pitch in and do some cooking and cleaning, or get me a maid, and we're going to have to DoorDash it, because I'm not doing all that. And I have to work. And the jobs that I have, this is not bullshit jobs. Like, I have high pressure jobs. And it's a lot of visibility, and it's a lot riding on me, and I bring a good income to the table. So if you're looking for me to contribute financially, then you're going to have to pick up the slack in terms of the housework and in terms of, what goes on, how the house runs. I cannot do everything.
Yeah, that's the whole truth.
And on top of all that, you want me to fuck you. So no.
I know that's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm fine with having a maid or something. My nickname for her is Miss Zimbabwe. That nice lady that comes in and takes care of business around the house. You know what I'm saying? But back in Zimbabwe, she was Miss Zimbabwe. Now she's here, and she's helping out. She's
imagination is rampant.
She helping you out. All right, Kente.
I'm trying to help the immigrant. I'm trying to help the immigrants. All right, I'm a big fan of the immigrants.
I'm done with you.
having them get your goal up and get that green card is not working. Stop it. Stop
it. Somebody said, "Okay, well, you're gonna have Miss Zimbabwe, then I'm gonna have Mr. Zimbabwe pool guy." I'm like, hell no. No.
Terrible.
No, it's not gonna be fair. Okay. But no, I understand that. Especially when you work a very high pressure job, and I can imagine that being pulled in so many directions, and then to expect all of that is quite a bit. And that's a whole other thing, is financial. So let's talk about the finances, and I'm gonna get the guys in on this. Is okay, me, I like to shop, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm an impulsive shopper. So I will buy shit just because, and because I ain't married, right? So I can just buy the whatever, and it ain't no thing. But if you're in a relationship, especially when your finances get intermingled, and that's a show unto itself, is when you start putting y'all two monies into the pot, you know, that's a thing in itself. First of all, it takes trust, to commingle your cash, with somebody else, especially if you've been single for a while and you haven't had to do that, and then now all of a sudden it's like, I mean, trust is okay when we're talking about, oh, lovey dovey, we're going to Shea Whitey's or Chipotle or wherever the hell we're going, right? But then when you start getting joint bank accounts, or when you start sharing the bills and stuff like that, then it takes a whole lot of trust. And if you've been single a long time, haven't had to do that, or some people have never done it, and then all of a sudden now your money has to cohabitate with somebody else, things can get a little iffy. So I know, Josh, you were married before, so I don't know, like, just speak to how did you, I don't know, were you the only breadwinner in your marriage, your first marriage?
My first marriage.
Yeah.
For the record, my only.
So far.
There were times it was alternating.
Mm-hmm.
She would be working, I would be working. Except when I wasn't working a full-time job, I would be in college, taking some classes, just doing whatever I could to kind of, in my mind, plan for the long run. But as far as handling finances, I was pretty easy to say, hey, you're the one that has the aptitude for this. You know what goes where inside your head, and go ahead. Here's the money. Get it taken care of.
Okay, that's what's up. What about you, Sean? You probably, I doubt that you've probably been there yet, right? With have to commingle with the finances.
No, because I haven't gotten married. But there have been there have been uh there have been cases where I've had to splurge a little bit outside of my usual spending, and I get a little perturbed by it because, not for nothing, I am kind of frugal. Like that's why I've been able to hold myself down for so long and hold down family. So it's a completely like whole different experience when someone comes in and you're like, oh shit, relationships actually do cost money on top of the additional funds that you just want to give in general. It's something else, man. But it's cool. After a while, after a while you get used to it, and it's like, okay,
I had a situation that I thought was crazy. I mean, I'll get you guys thought about it. So I was in a relationship, and after having been single for my year and a half, and I had this one car. It was a nice car, and I decided to, just on a whim, trade it in and get another car, right? And I had been in this relationship now, for about a year or so. And so I should show her, like, hey, I got this new car, right? And she was saying, and her take was, oh, well, why didn't you tell me you were getting a new car? And I'm like, because I just decided to do it. And she was like, oh, so you weren't gonna you just gonna, is that how you're gonna do things in the future? Like, just not say anything? I'm like, are you paying on this car? Like, it's my money. Like, I'm like, I didn't see why it was her. I mean, we weren't like living together, right? But she really thought that somehow I owed it to her to say something before I made that kind of decision or something. And I was like, I didn't feel like I owed her nothing because I didn't feel like we were there, to that point. I'm like, we don't live together. You're not paying for this. This is my decision on what I'm doing with my car. Now, if we were married or even engaged or something like that, or we were living together, if we were living together for sure, I probably would have, I would have, maybe I would have said something before I did it. So but I actually thought about what she said. I just didn't agree, and that was like a bone of contention. And she said, "Well, if I was gonna just get another car, I would have came to you, and I would have talked to you about it first." And I just didn't feel like we were there where I had to make that decision with her. I mean, we had been together for a year. So Mosaic, and I'm gonna ask Kedra, do you think I was in the wrong? Maybe should I have?
I mean, I guess if you look at it from a different angle, let's say the way she probably was looking at it is like, okay, so if you make impulsive buy purchases like this now, and let's say we were to eventually, talk about marriage or get married, will you keep doing that? So I mean, it's kind of like a character, thing. Like, I mean, like usually, like if you're with somebody that long, you're going to discuss with them something that you're going to do that big. So it's like, oh, I'm about to get a new car. You know what I'm saying? Not that she has to approve of you getting the new car. It's just that it's such a big purchase or something that's important to you that you should share it with her. In the relationship, because like, yeah, if you just go out and you're just going out buying like just buying stuff like that, just all this, like just buying this impulsive buys like that, and they're big. To me, I'd be like, he is not good with his money. He just go out and just spend it.
For the record,
but I know you was a baller today. You was a baller.
For the record, my car note went down a couple of $100. So I think it was a good deal, personally, and it was a better car. But
it's the principle. It's the principle.
It's just the principle. Yeah. It's not that she had to make she was going to decide for you or be the deciding factor you buying your car. It's just that the principle of you sharing that information with her because you're her significant other.
I would say after, say, quarter of a year, 6 months, quarter of a year, whatever, that some of these life kind of altering decisions or big life decisions, you at some point do mention it to your significant other. You may not be asking them for their approval, but like you could just say, hey, I'm getting a new car. Okay, you're getting a new car, but you don't have to say, look, can I get your approval for this car? No, but you're just saying, hey, I get a new car, or hey, I'm getting a new job, because these are significant. I think these are significant moments in your life that could potentially dictate the course of the relationship.
Milestones. And then she wants to feel, if I'm your significant other, I want to feel like I'm a part of your life. You not including me in that lets me know that I'm not that important.
Yeah. All right. You know what?
I wanted to say she just felt salty because you didn't include her. I mean, she was just salty. And she took that as, oh, I'm just not that important to him. Quite frankly, I mean, I don't think she communicated that in the right way. Because I mean that what she's saying is really not the core issue. The core issue is that she just didn't see where if you buy this car, you didn't even mention it to me. Like, I don't see a future with you because you're not really, sharing. You don't share. So, however, I mean, like if I were Kente, I wouldn't give a fuck. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. It's like, okay, girl, like, maybe, I mean, like, there are levels to it, and, you can date somebody for 2, 3, 4 years and never really be that close to them or intimate with them because they're not vulnerable. They don't share. They don't include you in, just conversation about, where their head is at, where they want to go in life. They just don't share that kind of stuff. Or you can be with somebody 3 or 4 months and then it's like, the world is their oyster. Everything has opened up and the intimacy is great. And I think for her, it was just a matter of intimacy. And yeah, so, it is what it is. I mean, I've lived with somebody once. I set the budget. I told him what I was going to pay, what he was going to pay, and I think he knew not to come at me with no craziness. Because I made a little bit more than him, so it's not like I needed him to pay the rent or anything. If you're gonna live with somebody, always get a place where you can afford to live in that place by
By
yourself.
yourself. True facts.
That's
True
true.
facts.
That's
True
true.
facts.
True
And
So
facts.
you don't be ass out.
and I,
Right.
in the chat room, put one if you think I should have said something to her beforehand. Put two if you don't think I should have. All right. So but no, I mean, you know what? It really took me some time for me to even think of it as a possible thing. So it was after the relationship when I was like, well, maybe I should have said something, like you know, look at Ryan says one, I should have said something.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
And there's the two. But then also remember, if you don't communicate, include your significant other, it's a one-sided relationship. That's a point. That's a point.
Mm-hmm.
But then you know what? Like I said, I'm so used to, I'm so used to not having to consider someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just inconsiderate.
A little selfish. Just a little.
A little. I guess I'm all.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's that selfishness. You were not ready to be in that committed relationship where you were able to give yourself. You were like, this. You just felt comfortable, like we're together, but I'm still gonna do my own thing.
Right.
So I would say counter argument though. I would say you don't realize that though. Unfortunately, I think you don't realize that until you are dealing with someone on an intimate level or like a close level. Like you don't realize how independent you are until someone says like, "Hey, did you notice you did A, B, C, and D?" And that's where that communication bit comes in. Because when you're by yourself, like you said, you don't have to worry about anyone's opinions, notaries, none of that. You can just say fuck, excuse my language. You can just say fuck you. But when you decide to integrate yourself like heavily into someone else's life, you kind of are stuck in the habit of just like going out by yourself or doing all these things, and you don't really think much of it, but the other person may think otherwise. This is why, going back again, communication is key for that other person to be like, hey, next time if you go out, maybe you should let me come along or something of the sort.
Yeah, I think I probably now I would do things a little differently, just because I never even considered it. I thought I was saying some cool shit, like, "Oh, I got a new car, Jenny said I got a car," and that wasn't her response. Her response was like, "You didn't say nothing to me. You just got the car," and then I didn't even think about it. It never crossed my mind. Like I'm all, how long it takes, right? You're signing, it takes like hours to do all the
Okay, you
paperwork.
be tired by the time you get the damn car. Be like, damn.
Yeah, you want to take a Uber home when you're done because you're so tired, right? But so I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be great. I showing her the car I just got and stuff, and her take was, wow, you just got a car, didn't tell me. And it never crossed my mind that could possibly be an issue. And I think I was like, well, then forget you. I'm happy. You're not gonna kill my joy.
I mean, I wouldn't have done it like that. I would have been like, oh, but I was like, oh, I would have been like, it's nice or whatever. But like, well, how come you didn't tell me you was gonna get a car? Like,
play it off.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. That probably just would have been me genuinely. I wouldn't have been like mad or nothing like that. Now it would have been now, and my husband wouldn't just probably like, what is you doing?
Right.
Like you didn't tell me about the car you was gonna get, but yeah, that's because I'm married now. But what was just dating somebody? I mean, that's their money. I mean, but like you just want to, like you could have told me. Why did you tell me you was getting a car? Like, why didn't you keep it a secret? Like, but
Another thing too, when you're single a long time, ladies and gentlemen, you sometimes have relationships with members of the opposite sex that are a little bit more than just homies. In fact,
FWB.
right. And sometimes those people don't just disappear when you're in a relationship into
No,
the
they
ether.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
You be like,
Sometimes
look.
you're having a cookout and that shows up at the cookout. you know, sometimes. And then, so I call it the ghosted dick pass. That's my nickname for that guy, or the ghost of coochie pass. Then they just kind of hover around, right? Now, when you're single, not in a relationship, it don't really matter to have those people lingering around, or
Mhm.
or even having guys or girls who they really like you, right? They like you. They're just waiting for that right opportunity. They're waiting for Stephanie. I'm gonna use Stephanie. They're waiting for Stephanie to get weak, have a weak moment, and then just hop in there, right? There's always those guys that's always hovering, right? And but now you're in a relationship. You're in a good relationship. You're not single anymore, right, Kedra? You're not single anymore. So now you got to change up. But you're used to having the ghosted dick pass hovering around, So let me ask, Kedra. I'm sure you've had those ghostly figures. Do you?
Oh,
Do
I've
you?
had
Do
more
you?
than a ghost. Let me tell you. Um, it's a miracle that the relationship it hasn't been that long, but one day I let him use my iPad and I had my messenger open on it.
Uh-oh.
So I guess he happened to look at it. And in my messenger, I have a lot of friends and a lot of people I talk to. And then he's like, oh, well, who is Ricardo? Because you went on a date with him the next day after we went out.
Uh-oh.
Because I had the picture in there. Oh, yeah. And it's like our first date. And I was like, well, we weren't actually together then, so it don't matter. He said, but you're still talking to him. Yeah. So as much as it hurt me, I had to cut it off because if I didn't, it was going to cause problems.
You gotta call Ghostbusters. Like it really doesn't help your situation, and a lot of times those people, those hoverers, they're really trying to mess you up. Real talk, because so now it doesn't always have to be you, the person with the ghost. Sometimes the person you date have the ghost hovering around. Now it's different if we're talking about a baby daddy or mama that you have to co-parent with. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a pure sexual partner when you're single. That person. There's the person that you do have sex with when you're single, and then there's the person that wants to have sex with you no matter what. That kind of hovers around. And I'm gonna describe it from the guy point of view. This is the guy who you ain't slept with him, but if it's 3 a.m. and you pop a tire, that fool will come out of his bed to change your tire.
Yeah.
That's a good friend.
Right, but you know what he wants. Or the guy who, let's say your phone bill, well, most people's phone bill is at a static rate, but let's say whatever bill, you need a little help on it. You could call him because because he likes you. He likes you, Kedra. He likes you, Mosaic, Stephanie. So he's gonna be like, he'll put a little something on the gas bill.
I got some of those.
Right. So how do you even know one? Like those people are helpful to you, ladies. They get you through tough times.
Yeah.
They may allow you to put your money towards something else because you don't have to worry about it. So how do you know when to let those people go if you're in a relationship? I mean, you don't just get rid of those guys because you're in something new.
Look, when I'll get rid of them when I get a proposal.
That's what I'm talking about. Stephanie, you right. I'm with you on that one.
You gotta keep something,
I'm single until I'm married.
That's right.
Right.
See, here's a problem though. The worst ones are the ones that you give attention to, everything goes well for a week. After a week, you don't hear nothing. Months go by. Finally, you start talking to somebody else. You're in a relationship. They pop up, and now they want to see how you're doing. How's your kids? How's your baby mama? This, that, and the other, right? And and then they go disappear again. Now, the moment you start talking about, oh, I'm having some issues, and I'm horny, and this, that, and the other, best believe they on
They
they
get
on
ghosts.
they on that clock. They on that every text you sent. They didn't respond at like 2 minutes ago. So you sent it at 8:45. They didn't respond at 8:40. Like that, like that, like that. So like you got it's so many ninjas out here, ninjas and ninjets that you gotta navigate with, because at least for my age range or my generation, like it's all so hyper focused, hyperactive. Like if you're not given that instant gratification, don't want to hear it. And the moment you start talking that talk, it's like, oh, okay, I'm coming over. And it's like, no, I just need help with fixing my tire or some shit. And it's like, okay, so what you call me for? Fucking
to
mess.
fix the tire.
Right.
I mean, but when you out here single, you gotta have different men for different things. You like they say, you gotta have a man that bring the food, the lemon pepper wings. You gotta have a guy that's handy, that can fix shit. Can take a look at your car, knows a good mechanic, knows how to change a tire. The guy with money, like I had a guy give me $1,500 while I was unemployed to help me out. You gotta have the guy that knows how to put it down, the one that loves to perform oral sex. Like you gotta have different men out here, because you gotta have a stable, like, because one man is, especially when you out here dating, and you're not in that serious committed relationship, because it's you need choices, and these men be acting funny. Now, in terms of this instant gratification, this is how I weed them out. I do not respond to text for 3 hours. So if you can wait it that long for me to respond to you, and you do that consistently, like you can wait, then I might be interested in you. But most of these men, if you don't respond back within 10 minutes, they will unmatch you on these dating apps, act like it don't respond. Like if you wait any amount of time, maybe if you're not even putting them to the test, maybe you're just busy. Oh, it's an issue. I'm just like, nigga, I'm busy. Like I do have a life, but no, especially if you are in your 30s and 40s, make them wait 3 and 4 hours before you text them. That'll show their true character. You'll see what you're working with.
But Stephanie, though, 3 hours without Stephanie, that's a long time.
Well, it'll be greater later. It'll be greater later.
It depends, and I mean, honestly, depending on the time of the day, 3 hours can go by fast, especially if you're busy or you sleep.
I'm at work. You should be busy too. If we in working hours, it shouldn't be a problem, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to say something.
You should be on your purpose.
Now, see, my boyfriend just sent me a text. Now, before I started this podcast, I said, look, I'm going to be doing the podcast in the room. He's like, oh, I want to go shave. But as well as I know, that mic is going to pick up all of that. And then he was like, oh, so I can't come and shave and take a shower. I was like, there's more than one bathroom. Why can't you use the other bathroom? So that's a problem right there, because, like, the bathroom's right here. You're going to hear the shave. You're going to hear that noise. Am I lying?
Right.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I have
you know what?
issues, so mine's downstairs now. I hear Bilal music right now. He's in the living room, but he'll probably come in here and peek and see what I'm doing, because I can't be away from me too long.
Look, now
That's cute.
You can pop me on the head for this, but maybe he wants to, showcase like, yo, I'm in here. I know what I'm doing. That's my girl. Don't make any moves.
Oh my goodness, that's so childish.
But I gotta ask Stephanie this question. I kind of think I know the answer, but so you mean the ring? Is that when the dating apps go away? Is when the ring comes too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh wow! So even if y'all get real, and you guys are like, become real serious, you date, like, you're dating with a purpose and all of that kind of stuff. The ring is before you finally cut off.
Yeah, because I can't. I'm tired of putting all my eggs in one basket. I can't do it. So if you're serious, yeah, show me something. But my sister, who happens to be a lot younger than me, 30, she went on a date with one guy, and they both decided they were gonna go off of they were gonna take their profiles off the dating app. I was like, don't you do that stupid shit. Like, like you can't let this. I said, first of all, he probably lying. He gassing you up because he don't want you out there dating other men, and he probably got another profile already ready to go. He might delete the one that you found him on, but he got other profiles. So do not take down your profile until this man is like, until y'all, I mean, at least talking about being like, serious.
Right.
Like, I just no, it's too many games to be played, and I know how to play them too. I'm good at it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you know my marriage story, Kente.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those who don't know, I married my husband within 45 days
Oh wow.
that we met. So, like, I was in a relationship when I met him, but it was like on the very end of ending, and so um, I ended the relationship, and then my husband was like, "You want to get married on Tuesday?" And I was like, "Work on Tuesdays." And so we ended up getting married. But having those options out there, like I didn't even think that, when I met my husband, he was introduced to me as my husband, and I was just like, "Nah, you ain't my husband." Like, whatever. We're like, this is just gonna be fun, but. Turned out to be different, but I wasn't planning on being in a relationship, nor was I planning on like putting all my eggs in one basket. Like Steph is saying, like it just ain't worth it. Like especially if he ain't talking about being in a relationship or anything like that. Now the guy before my husband, I was, we were talking about marriage and everything, but even still, it's like I have to keep my options open. So you gotta do that.
That's interesting. I mean, hey, when you know, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like us guys, it doesn't take us that long to know
No.
who we really want to settle down with.
I just want to say that I just want to say that just what you were talking about, I was talking about with my homegirls yesterday, because that woman, Derek Jackson, his wife, they was dating 8 years before they got married.
Oh no.
Because I did the math. I went through her Instagram and I did the math. 8 years and a baby and 8 years of dating before he proposed.
So he's been doing what he was doing.
But he's the relationship guru, right?
If it take 8 years for a man to propose, that man don't want you. I cannot. That's why I say it don't really take them that long. It really don't.
I challenged my husband's even. He was like, "I love you," and I was like, "No, you don't. You like me." I know, but then he did something that totally let me know, like, okay, no, he's for real.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And he was just like, he was ready. He was like, no, I don't want nobody else to have you. You mine. So I was like, okay.
That's so
so now we got 3 years later. We've been married 3 years now.
Oh, that's good. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
All right. So the three people on the bottom are all single. So the question is, we'll start off with you, Sean. Are you ready to be in a relationship, or do you feel like you need some more? Need to stay in the oven and cook a little bit more?
Well, you know what's funny is it will be a year since I've been single. Actually, funny enough, I was in a relationship that ended. It ended badly because it was a trifecta of things. Well, 4 things. It was COVID, lost family member, lost job, and then we split afterwards. So, like, I would say right now, I'm just getting back into like getting over that and like focusing on myself again right now. I guess you could say I'm kind of just sowing my oats, but I'm more focused on getting the bank account up than anything, because I can't because the way I see it is like everybody, you can't really date. Everything's locked down. You don't want to deal with nobody because everyone's full of shit.
Mhm.
So got to go back to being selfish a little bit, and then maybe give it another year. Be time for that. Time for that good stuff again.
I feel like you can still date. You just have to be creative. So it may not necessarily be going to a restaurant, which is like everybody's like, oh, we go out to eat, we go to the movies or whatever like that. I mean, it could be you can go to a park and have a picnic, or you could go to a car. It don't have to be an elaborate date. You just have to, go somewhere where y'all can communicate and just kind of hang out and get to know each other.
So not to divert the topic too much, but see this that's a question I have for you guys. Like I'm a big fan of like extraordinary dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to a museum, we can go to the waterfront, we can have dinner, things like that. Like things that aren't the usual things. Because I have the model of like we need to decide to do something that we both haven't done before. Have you went rock climbing? Let's go rock climbing. Have you been, sailing? Let's go do that. So is that something that I guess for those who are in relationships, something that's more pursued, or do you look at more of like they taking me to dinner, we'll start from there and go from there?
Now, I was thinking about doing an escape room because I like to do things out of the ordinary. So, yeah. And then, like, I'm just going to say, I'll probably be single again soon because I'm not feeling this relationship shit. I'm just not.
Breaking news! Breaking news!
Tell it how it is, dear.
I don't know about the rock climbing part. Like,
Yeah, I might be a little too round for that part, but
yeah.
I'll go hiking with you. Yep.
Okay.
I'll go hiking. I love it. So I love animals. So if somebody took me to the petting zoo, I would be so ecstatic. And I'm like a whole grown kid, and my husband knows I like certain things. So like even if we like go downtown and we'll just get like those little electronic scooters and just hang out downtown on the riverfront. Just do something different. You ain't always have to be in at a restaurant spending money and all that kind of stuff. And half the time, I don't like certain food. I don't like chain foods anyway. My taste palette is a little expensive, so you probably could like this girl want to go somewhere, but get creative. Do some a private painting trip or something. Just something different.
Yeah, sip and paint.
Right.
That's a good. Ooh,
Hi,
that's
Ryan.
a good one.
Hey,
What's up, Ryan? Ryan's in the house.
what's up?
Ryan's in the house. And real quick, I want to get to a question, and we'll go. We'll add Ryan to the conversation. Diana Lopez, and big shout out to her. She wants to know how long is too long to be engaged. I don't know that there's an actual number as far as months or years. So I feel like if there's no movement, no real movement, it's like there's always an excuse, like, oh well, the moon is in retrograde, or there's always some weird ass excuse why we're not getting married. Then you got to start questioning how serious the person is about it. So I don't know if there's an actual number, but I mean, if you start going into the 3 and 4 years, then that can be a problem. I know situations where people were engaged a long ass time and it worked out, but that's an outlier though. Let's go ahead.
I think for me, the older you are, the shorter the engagement should be. Because I feel like, if you are actually out here, you know who you are, you know what you want, you've been to therapy, you've done some work. I just don't think that it takes a 40-year-old man 5 years to be engaged. I don't even think it takes 2 years. I think on average a year is generally what most people stay engaged. I would give some leeway for younger couples, who may be working on career and finance, and maybe they just want to get engaged to solidify their.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I got married in the courthouse. I would do it again 10 times over. I ain't have to deal with the drama of nobody. Well, I don't want to wear that kind of dress. I want my hair like this. No, I mean, like if you're married, engaged to somebody for a long time, it's like, what is the holdup? Because typically, most people when they get engaged, it's like within a year there's a wedding. Typically,
Right.
so if maybe if it's a year and a half, and you want to spend some time to get some money together to have exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But no.
A year, I feel like it's good. 2 years if you're young to get your finances together.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to have a super long engagement, especially a suspect engagement is when you've put pressure on them about marriage, and then they all of a sudden they produce a ring, but then they keep delaying, they keep kicking the can down the street. Then you gotta question how serious they really are about it.
If we're not setting dates and putting deposits down, no. No.
Right. So yeah, hopefully we answered that question. Ryan, single too long. Now you're a guy that's totally about your purpose. You're a father as well. So I'm gonna assume a lot of times there's your son, right? Then there's your purpose, right? Then maybe a woman somewhere falls in there, right? Is that how it goes?
No, not not as recent, because my son is no longer 3 years old, right? So because when I met you guys, he was really young,
very young,
and deserved a lot of my attention. And now a lot of the times he's doing animations and stuff like that in the back or whatever. And and for all this time, I didn't really get any babysitters. I was home most of the times, and it was only a few times when I was busy earlier on in the I think 2014, 15. Maybe my mentor, my sister, would take him. But I was always there. But now it's the pendulum has shifted, and
now he's watching you.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's different now. I think I can date more and put a little more emphasis on, especially when he's not here, because we do half on, half off. So my business does take priority. It's always took priority, but I don't plan, like I'm getting old, I'm getting gray hair, and and I just my attitudes have changed and shifted. So I think that I want to make more time. So even though it's not realistic. Pardon?
Do you feel like you're ready to be in a serious relationship?
I am ready, but I'm repairing my life as well, because I took a last year, the year before that was financially probably the worst in my company. So I'm just repairing now. I'm starting to get busy again, and but now I'm realizing and recognizing how to handle that time, and how to make time to I'm totally, my attitudes towards dating has totally shifted and changed, because just listening to my ex-girlfriends and dwelling on things, you have to make time for people, and you can make time if they're special, because I know I made time for ones that I deemed that were special, and I always made excuses for those who were at the time I thought they were special, but they weren't special enough, because when you meet someone in your life that you just are in love with, you're willing to just give it all, you really did crash and burn, and I recognize that. So now I try to make a conscious effort to, like, even if it's an hour for a walk, because I went for a date a couple of weeks ago, went for a walk and stuff, and it was cool.
I was seeing, being friends with you since the Blab days, you know, some of your ebb and flow of your relationships and how they will always fit into like where how they would maybe not support your business as much or you know or stuff like that. And I get that because that's important when you have somebody in your life and they don't support you know your business. That can be tricky because if you love me, you also care about what I care about.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're gonna be the accountant, but you know,
Yeah,
but they may be some. They may do something small, and you know, and because that might be their business, might not be their strong point. But they should take time to invest in you, and you know, in things that you love. You know, that's just real important. Even like my husband, he's from Africa. He's an entertainer, so he knows that I do shea butter and you know stuff like that. So he wants to support me in those endeavors. He's not necessarily going to be all involved in my business, but he supports me where he can.
Yeah, and I think it's all about communication. I think, you know, the older you get, I think, you know, the older I get, I'm like saying, hey, this is my life. You know, take it or leave it. You know, I tend to be paired up with women that already have kids, and that makes it easy because there's like basic understanding, and also women that are business women or have had a business in the past, so they understand they understand that lifestyle. But I'm not making my business because you have to like I've been running this business by myself for a very long time. You're not a business owner, you're self-employee. And, you know, and if you can't find the time to have a social life or whatever it is, then you're not really running your business correctly. And that's kind of the lesson that I learned going through the recession, because I still had work to do, even despite the fact that cash flow was coming in. And I realized that and there were times where I just had to take a break, and I'm still alive, y'all, still paying the bills and still got the kids. So yeah, you got to make time, and but you also have to communicate with your loved ones. You know, you got to keep in communication. I think that's the thing that's like, I'm talking to someone right now and I just say, hey, what's up? I'm not manipulating her by sending her good morning text. Like, I've talked to her, I'll give her a call, keep her in constant communication, because, you know, like the one I used to get pissed off because, you know, they would get mad at me because I didn't message them for the whole day. You know what I mean? But now I'm more cognizant of just keeping in communication, letting, you know, whoever I'm dating know where I'm at. And making it up somehow the following day or the day after or what have you.
I mean, I want to say that, you know, I moved from Houston to the Pacific Northwest, and these men love to go hiking and, you know, going on mountain tours and rock climbing, all that shit. And that's cool, but I just want to know, are we going to eat and get something to drink at some point on this date?
That is crazy.
That's all I want to know. Is there going to be food and drinks involved?
Hey, what's up?
He's got so big. Where do you get the muscles and stuff from? Who told you to grow?
See how big he's gotten?
Right, like just yesterday he was dancing like Michael Jackson. Now he got all this. What's going on here?
Hey,
talking like this, and he's like nearly about to pass me in size. You know,
that's so cool.
He's a handsome guy.
Hey, what up, Malcolm? What up, Malcolm? All right, so as we close this episode up, let me ask Josh this question. Joshua, you've been single for quite a while.
A little bit.
Are you ready? Are you ready at this point to be in a relationship, or do you need more? Do you need to be in the oven a little bit longer and cook?
That's an interesting question, Kente. First of all, let me thank you for asking it. And it takes a certain kind of bravery to ask a question as courageous as that, as I'm stalling for time to find an answer. Am I ready? I don't know.
Run.
No, if you got if you're
He's
stuttering
not
like that,
ready.
you're not ready.
Are you enjoying your singleness, like your time with yourself, Josh?
Time with myself? There's no time with myself.
Why?
I got 3 kids, man. They're with me
3 girls.
Aw.
all the time.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
That paper.
So no, there's no me time. I'm either at work or it's daddy mode. I don't want to make it seem like I'm complaining because it's absolutely the best, especially since all 3 of them are unabashedly proud nerds. I tried. Well, I can't even say that I tried. It's just that over the last, all of their lives, actually, they've sort of gravitated to the things I like. So I never really had to feign interest in anything that I don't like. And we would watch TV together. And we play our games together. And we just do everything together. And they even have rules for, if they allow me to start dating, as they put it. The kind
That's
of person
cute.
that I should be with. And let's just say there's a lot of expectations of tolerance of their own individual fandoms. They don't want anybody that's going to give them flack for being nerds.
That's cute.
I give my dad slack about my dad's funny. He has like his set of women that he talked to all the time. And so my dad is a fisherman, so he goes fishing all the time during the summer and the spring. And he'll have like a big fish fry at the end of the year. And my dad will have all his women at the fish fry. And so my dad's thing is like, and he's a pure Sagittarius with his smart mouth. And he's like, I don't know what she mad for. She ain't none of my woman. That's my friend. I be like,
That's my friend, my lady friend.
my dad is a trip. Like my dad, I'm like Toki out here pimping. He got all his girls at the fish fry.
At the fish fry, I'm dying.
And they be mad because like my mom will come through or whatever, so she'll come and help cook or something like that, and they be mad because my mama is there. It be so my mama and my dad are like oil and water. They do not need to be in the same room sometimes with each other. So it'd be funny to see how my dad navigates through that. Like he does not want like no. He was like, I want a woman living with me right now. No, I'm just cool being your friend. Or, he'll go and visit his lady friend who lives near me or whatever. But my dad is so funny.
All right. So, Stephanie, all the guys want to know this question. Are you, in fact, would you say you are ready to be in a serious relationship at this point?
I think I'm ready for the right serious relationship. I'm a little bit commitment shy. Because I just need somebody that I know has good decision making skills first and foremost. And I'm bougie, and it pays. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. So a lot of men don't fit that criteria. Yeah. So it might be a while, but you know what? I'm not settling no more. I want what I want, and that's it.
I hear that. I hear that.
But Stephanie, can we get the return text down to about an hour?
No.
I just need you to cut 2 hours off. Come on.
No, I'll give you an hour. I'll cut an hour off. 2 hours. I'll text you back.
All right. Can I get 45 minutes?
Anything for you, Kente.
No. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys were a great panel. And I want to thank my lovely co-host, brand new, spanking new co-host, Mosaic, who, like I said, I've always wanted to do something with Mosaic. She's just a wonderful, delightful human being.
Thank you.
And who's from Flint, Michigan.
Flint Town, Flint Town, Flint Town.
All right. So
Okay. The
you know,
cold.
yeah. So
It is
I
cold.
know I know a lot about Flint. I have homies from there. So I haven't been yet, but I definitely know a lot about it. So, but I wanted to thank everybody for joining us. And just as programming note, next week our topic is twins. So we're gonna have several sets of twins on the show.
Oh wow.
I have twins.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I have
Oh,
twin sons.
oh,
And
okay.
then my aunts are twins. And then my cousin has twins. And then my uncle has twins. Yeah, we got a lot of twins in the
It's
family.
twins, and my brothers are twins.
Oh, wow.
I
So,
wouldn't wish twins on your worst enemy sometimes. They do everything.
so
But you know what? It's to me, just me personally, I had my twins first. And it was easier for me to have twins. And then when I had my son 6 years later, it was harder for me with one kid.
oh
I don't
wow.
know.
Yeah. You know,
Funny.
Angie from Black Love United, she had triplets. So, yeah. So,
Hey.
yeah. So she said, she has kind of a deeper voice. She said that's how she got her deep voice was the after she had her twins, it changed her voice.
Wow.
So but that's next week's show, and we'll be back here Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. So let's start off with the ladies. Kedra, how can we get you on social media, and what should we be on the lookout for? I know you have a book coming out.
Yeah, I have a poetry book I'm working on with some other poets because I do poetry, spoken word too. But I'm focusing on my short films, so look for that. You can catch me on Instagram. I don't even know my thing on Instagram because I've been off social media for a while because my brother got killed, so it's been a minute. So thank you. So I'm just coming back, but you can find me. I'm up on there, and let's all connect. Who knows? Let's make things happen.
Let's make it happen. That's right. All right. So Stephanie, how can we get you on social media, and what should we be on the lookout for you? I know at one point you were thinking about starting a show. I know you're very busy, and with the move and all that.
I know. Working at Microsoft keeps me very busy. Let's see. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram, SoSo Steph _ on IG. I also co-host a show on Clubhouse every Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's called hashtag Women in Tech, a safe space for women. And what we do, me and my co-host Addie, we basically help women who work in technology workshop their careers. It's a crowdsourcing effort. While I don't know everything, we kind of pull together and give women advice. It's a place for them to vent. Men are allowed in the room, but they are not allowed on stage, so no mansplaining. We have people from Google, Microsoft, startups, fintech, all sorts of women who want to see other women advance. Some of the topics we've done are product management, how to negotiate your salary, program management, marketing technology, software engineering, whether you want to be a manager or continue to be an individual contributor in your role. We talk about everything. And even if, from a, person of color standpoint, microaggressions, how to handle those type of situations, sexual harassment. So it is a very, like I said, safe space. I look forward to it every week. It runs for 1 hour at this right now. And then at the end of the show, we also have a job board. And so we go around and say, oh, I have, I'm offering referrals to Microsoft, or, if you're a hiring manager, you can advertise a job. So come by and get referred, get a job. So, yep. Yeah,
That's
it's
That's
on
what's up.
Clubhouse, Women in Tech, and my name on Clubhouse is SoSo Steph. You can find me there on Clubhouse. So yeah, add me and let's connect.
Yeah, I
All
think I've
right,
seen you on Clubhouse before.
let's do it, Stephanie. So
I think I definitely need to talk to Stephanie because I have a character that I want to write for one of my scripts that's going to be techie.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, we definitely got to hook up. I definitely would like to talk to you and get a lot of insight.
one of my animated characters of something I'm working on. Her name is actually named after you, Stephanie. So
Oh,
Oh, okay.
And she's a very good character too. So
Oh, thank you.
so Joshua, let's start with you, Joshua. We'll start from the bottom, the fellas. So Josh, how can we get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for?
Well, as always, I'm Josh from Semicora Studios. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at SkitComic, SKITCOMIC. You probably see it in the video right there next to my name. Every Friday night, we have a little something called the Wadcast over at facebook.com/Wadcast, or the Wadcast, excuse me. And this Friday, it's going to be a good show. Henry R. Nader, writer-director of the new film, The Exchange, going to be on the show to talk about how he got to where he is, and maybe give a little bit of advice for those that want to be where he is, and that kind of thing. You could follow Semicore Studios on Facebook. Give it a like, facebook.com/Semicore Studios, or go to the Wadcast Pod on Twitter. I got to be honest, I'm not a prolific tweeter, whatever it is. I'm not great at it, but when I do put something up there, it's generally what I feel to be important. So give it a follow, and you'll be able to find information there. And if you play PlayStation, Skit Comic.
You know what? And I got a bone to pick with Josh, and I'm airing it out right now on the show. They had me on the Wadcast a couple of weeks ago. It was my first appearance on the Wadcast. It was like number 8 episode, like I think 82. I'm like, you waited 82 episodes to have me on? Really? It took that long? So I have to call them out for that. So it's probably going to be 164 the next time they have me on. But I had a great time.
Or there could be a big announcement incoming very soon.
Oh, wow. They're going to let me back on. That's so kind of you. So kind of you. But no, it's a great show, and I really enjoy it. And then we'll start off with you, Sean. How can we get you in social media? And what should we is there anything we should be on the lookout from you?
Sure. So you can get me on Facebook, Wes Huygen. Other than that, I don't have social media. The only other place you can find me is in the world. So if you see a black guy skating in the city with a flat top, that's more than likely me.
He's hilarious. I'm dying over here.
As far as like what I'm working on, not anything public. I can't really say. So,
what is it? Was it adult?
No, can't say. If I was working on some adult, you would be the first to know. No,
Okay.
it's just the course of my current jobs have taken me into like proprietary, confidential spaces. Okay. So here we are.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we clarified that, because if I just left that hanging, they'd have been like, "What's he into?"
I mean, look, we'll float your boat. Probably there.
Hey, man! OnlyFans have shot up, so I was watching something where I'm not going to say that fool's name, but it's a guy who's a YouTuber that's a jerk.
No,
and he's on OnlyFans, and
you can say my name. It's okay.
He's a bigger jerk than you, Josh. But no, I'm only kidding.
Look, I am in New York City, so you know how that goes.
They said that fool
New York.
They said that fool makes like $68,000 a month doing OnlyFans.
That's
like,
crazy.
Say what now? Say what?
Okay.
Yeah. He makes It's a dude. He makes $68,000 a month.
Everybody's
Okay,
favorite relationship person they hate.
Well, no. This guy is his initials are TS, and
Tom Selleck.
It's Tom is his first name, and he is an Uncle Tom. That guy makes $68,000 a month doing OnlyFans. So, and it's a guy. So the women are making, but yeah, I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong business. But
Right.
Me too.
Hold on, wait. I'm so, not to divert the topic, but he's like past 40 and he making 68,000. Something ain't right.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I'll say when we're not on air who this guy is, but yeah. So actually, we're gonna do a show on OnlyFans, by the way. But Ryan, how can we get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for? Let's see if Ryan can hear us. what should be on the lookout for, Ryan?
Hustle Zone TV. I am. You can find me on Instagram at Hustle Zone and Hustle Zone TV. We were supposed to launch a long time ago. It hasn't happened because it's just there's when you have a startup, there's just more and more stuff that you have to do. But one thing that we do have going on right now is a podcast called Peasant Sex and Relationships. It's a woman's approach. Twyla, if you're watching Twyla, shout out to you. But Twyla is an amazing person. I noticed Twyla like a couple like last year because she started posting herself like was half naked or whatever, but it wasn't like like boudoir shoots, but it was just pictures that a woman would send to her man, and it may not be it's not a boudoir, so it wasn't posed, it's just her expression, and then she's giving women advice about f-boy tendencies, and I learned a lot through her show in terms of certain things that men do, but she's breaking it down for women in a different way. And she calls a lot of men peasants because, they're just not coming correctly. It's better than listening to Derek Jackson, and it's funny, and it's not like Kevin Samuels. She breaks it down for women, and she speaks to women. But if you're a man and you want to watch the show, you'll learn a lot about yourself. Like she had one show about the erogenous zones, how there's so many different nerve endings. There's so many different ways of pleasuring a woman. And she's just coming out with it just raw. She's just telling you straight up, like, this is what we like. We're not going to sugarcoat it. So that's the.
Wait a minute. Derek Jackson is the most upstanding person. He never lies. He is
You almost made me say something when I was up on the platform in public.
Oh man!
You couldn't tell me how to bathe my dog.
Oh wow!
It's like what people are not talking about is that he pretty much used his platform to lure women into his, like he's luring them into this win-lose situation. And so he's like beyond narcissist. He's pure evil.
Mm-hmm. I never really cared for him anymore.
Me neither. I never followed him.
Well, I mean, he said men who cheat deserve to be held accountable. So that's his own words. So.
But it's not even that. It's not even that he's cheating. It's the fact that he's he's using his platform, talking about who he is as a person to these women and saying, don't go ditch your man. And then he's picking them up on the side and having relationships with them.
That is brilliant. That is so brilliant, though.
That's not brilliant.
No.
It's crazy.
I'm only serious. I'm only serious.
That's beyond crazy because you got to imagine, you got to think about it from his wife's point of view, being able to know what he's been doing and then watching the videos and all of the women that he's been dealing with, watching his videos, pretty much contradicting everything that they know that he's not doing, right? Like he says, if he doesn't call you, but he's not calling them, if he's dealing with 2 or 3, or if he's not this or that, and then they know that he's doing that. So I think like I have so much sympathy for these women that had to go through that. It's crazy. It's crazy. He's the level of his.
I have no sympathy for anybody who deals with what's his name, Derek Jackson. If you can't see, Stevie Wonder can see that guy's a fraud. So like you're dumb if you allow him to hustle you.
Let me tell you this. I'll be perfectly honest with you, and this could be my naive young mind, but I can't take advice. First off, is Derek Jackson black?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't take advice from a hyper masculine black man talking about black woman problems when I'm quite sure he can barely get his little diddly up to satisfy a wonderful black woman properly. So I'm going to take what y'all saying as is, throw them right in the trash, and go straight to the source. If there's problems, you ask a black woman. Don't sit there and ask a black. Anyway. not to digress, but
And he was 31 years old too. Like, I know you guys gotta go, but 31 years old. And that's the other thing. A lot of women, like treated him as if though he's like, like 42, 43. He looks like he's in his 40s, but he's this young man sitting there. Hey, this is this is what you should do. And I would listen to him and be like, man, he's so like his advice was so destructive. And you come after us men, like, you know what I mean? There has to be some sort of middle ground. And women loved it. They digged it up and they ate it up. But then to realize that he's a fraud.
Fraud. You know what? I'm not gonna do it.
Just as to be fair to Derek Jackson, a guy who I couldn't stand before all of this, is he did say that when he became a Christian is when he fell off. So usually you become a Christian and you become a better person, but apparently it didn't work. It didn't take for him. It went the opposite way.
His wife was like, "Oh, the Lord
I can totally see Jesus. I can see Jesus going, "Don't blame this on me, homie."
It sounds like a whole messed up Hotep, and we don't mess with them.
But like to be real, without getting too deep, is that the whole patriarchy system started with a lot of with Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when women were property of men, that was the Catholic Church implementing a lot of that stuff. So
the good times.
Because when you look at his wife was talking in biblical terms. Didn't say nothing biblical, but she was talking, Jesus all day today. And, she's kind of wrapped up in that ideology. And, I'm not for, families having to split up. But, you have to realize she's not just with a man that is in the middle of repenting. She's with a man that pretty much mastermind, like a huge scheme. And she needs to blink twice and, maybe sleep with one eye open and make sure she's protecting herself, because that is no relation. Hopefully they work it out, but he's beyond like a cheater.
She's going to be
call him a cheater.
She's going to be fine.
She waited 8 years for him. She'll be okay.
She's going to be fine. And if she has to cash out, she got a lot of money. He makes a lot of money, so she's gonna be fine either way. So I think I'm not worried about her.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I'm coming here for my relationship advice. So y'all keep it coming.
I got you. So Mosaic, how can we get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for?
You can find me on social media at Mosaic Star. Twitter and Instagram. I'm also on Clubhouse as at Mosaic Star, and should be on the lookout for my relaunch of Missouri Y2 Business Beauty and Wellness. I took a long break, and now I'm back to okay, I'm gonna get back to the business. Also, I'm working on an Afrocentric home goods line that is coming into fruition, so I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also,
are you still the Shea Butter Connect?
Oh yeah, I got that work.
Right. And you get it from the motherland. You have it shipped in, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, I'm getting really more involved into the community, helping the homeless people. Right. And so my new job that I start on the 5th of April is going to be working with troubled teens who end up homeless and stuff as well. So we be like taking donations, trying to help the people, help the babies and everything. And so that's it for me.
All right. You can get me at Kente F on Twitter, Kente Ferguson on Instagram, and of course the website is indyradio.org. That's indyradio.org. We'll be back next week with an all new episode. You guys have a great rest of your week, and God bless you.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.